Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be reacting to the top 10 creepiest things found in abandoned buildings. Now, there's a reason why I'm doing this video, and that's because this Friday, I am posting my next abandoned video here on the channel, and I'm actually with my fiance for this one. I'm not going to say too much. I'll get into what we explored, but it is an absolute banger, and it is a place where not a lot of people have actually went, and I don't think it's ever been filmed before. Of that being said, let's go ahead and react to the top 10 creepiest things found in abandoned buildings.
Abandoned buildings are mysterious places. Who knows what you'll find lurking
Very
around
much
the corner
so.
or in the basement. Part of the curiosity
Facts.
surrounding abandoned places is the reason they were left in the first place. Although
Sure,
sometimes
sure.
people who explore forgotten
Every abandoned
places
building
end up
has a
finding
story.
something they wish they didn't. In today's video, we're talking about the 10 creepiest things discovered in abandoned buildings. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to The Supreme, and click the notification bell for more lit content. Let's get rolling. Number 10, a shark. Of all the things you don't want to come across
Was this
when
in,
exploring
was this in
an
Sydney?
abandoned building,
I think
a
I know
shark
about this
is
one.
one of them. A shark in
Or
a
I'm wrong.
formaldehyde tank was found at Wildlife Wonderland in Victoria, Australia,
Yeah,
which had been
yeah.
left abandoned since
That's
2012.
it.
Urban Explorer.
I actually remember
Luke
this.
McPherson
I remember
visited
this.
the shuttered zoo and uploaded a
That's
28-minute
crazy.
video of his adventure.
Imagine
to
that.
YouTube in
Imagine
February
finding a shark
2019.
exploring like
The
a
video
sea
attracted
life.
14 million
That's wild.
views, and the story of the great white shark went viral. It
Of
seems
course.
that the zoo had been closed due to offenses against wildlife, and the owner
Damn.
didn't have the correct legal licenses to run the
Damn.
attraction. The great white shark, later nicknamed Rosie, was a dead shark captured in 1998 and put
Wow.
on display
And it
in
was
the
just
zoo.
left there.
The abandoned zoo
The
was
owner
unserious,
would have
but
known.
largely because the dangerous formaldehyde liquid was leaking from the shark tank. Can you imagine how scared McPherson must have
Holy
been
shit.
when he stumbled across Rosie?
That's
It
so
isn't
cool.
often a human comes face to face with a predator of the ocean. I know she wasn't alive, but that kinda made it even creepier.
100%.
Number 9.
The vibe as well.
Tombstones. In October
Would've been
2019, a 1930
Tombstones.
era building was demolished in the Ukrainian village of Choritsa. As the building was torn down, contractors realized it had been built hundreds of gravestones.
Holy
The Soviets
shit.
had seemingly tried to destroy
Someone
all
knew.
signs of the village's
Someone knew.
previous inhabitants and constructed a building on their
Believe it.
graves. The discovery was made nearly 100 years later, and the tombs were
Wow.
traced back to a Mennonite community with ancestors in Manitoba, Canada. It seems
Wow.
Mennonite gravestones are elaborate, which helped in their identification. I wonder if anyone living in the building experienced anything paranormal. Constructing a building on top of a graveyard seems like a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Number
That's
8.
fucked up.
A witch. Did a police officer stumble across the legendary Delray Witch? An officer who identified himself as Ted Robertson was responding to a domestic disturbance called in the
Wow.
Delray area of Detroit.
I think I might
in
have
the
seen this
United
one
States.
before.
He said that
This
as
clip.
the situation had been resolved, he was heading back to the station, but he heard strange sounds coming from a nearby abandoned home.
Wow.
A lot of homes are abandoned in Detroit, so Officer Robertson didn't find it too weird until
And
he
even
got
I know
closer to
that.
the source of the noise and couldn't
Whoa, look at
decipher
the
what was
face.
making it. He then captured this footage from one of the windows.
Oh,
It
what
looks
the
a
fuck?
lot like a ghost, right?
Yeah, it does.
In the yard of the property, he found an article about the Delray Witch, a woman called Rose Verez, who was sent to prison
How
for a
coincidental
number
is
of
that?
murders. Could Officer Robertson have seen the Delray Witch in that window?
It's like Michael Myers.
Number 7, a tiger. This is a wild story. In February of 2019, a man who was
Tiger.
high on cannabis called police to report that he had seen a tiger in an abandoned house in Houston. At first,
What?
the police thought that he was hallucinating, but when they arrived to investigate the scene, they did indeed find an overweight tiger locked inside a cramped cage in
Overweight.
the garage of an abandoned
It's
property.
being fed. Someone's feeding
Packages
it.
of meat were found nearby in the room, but there were
There
no
you go.
other signs of a person living there. The tiger was rescued and taken to a local animal sanctuary.
What the fuck?
Number 6,
Mike Tyson's.
old specimen. In the aftermath of the devastating Hurricane Katrina, a lot of buildings were abandoned because they were damaged by floodwater. Over 10 years after the disaster, a lot of moldy buildings are waiting for demolition. One building is the Charity Hospital in New Orleans.
All right.
Before the disaster, it had been used
Got the mold on
as
the
one of
outside.
the oldest hospitals in the state of Louisiana. Now it sits in spooky disrepair. Urban explorers
Wow.
photographed the inside of the hospital, even though doing so was a risk to their own health. There is plenty of abandoned biohazardous materials still
wow.
around, such as blood specimens and body parts. I think of all the abandoned places I wouldn't
Wow.
want to go, and a hospital would be right up there. They're just so spooky
I've done
anyway.
it. I've done a hospital.
Then add in old
that's
vials of blood
crazy.
and urine. That's just too creepy. What would you be most scared of? An old bag of needles or the ghost of a former patient?
I'm more scared about
Number 5. Bomb.
bodies, body
There
parts.
are a crazy number of unexploded
Bomb.
bombs left after World War II. Despite
Some
coming
bunkers
to
and
an end
stuff.
nearly 75 years ago, the biggest war the world has ever seen is still causing chaos. In November of 2019, a World War II hand grenade was found by a worker inside a house in the populated district in Athens, Greece.
Wow.
There isn't an expiration date for explosives. They can be just as dangerous, if not more dangerous today, as they were decades ago. While
Far
Greece
out.
still had forgotten bombs lingering, Germany is the most affected by unexploded old bombs. During the war, the Allied forces dropped 2.7 million tons of explosives
Jeez.
all over Germany, but not all of them went off. Evacuations in cities are a regular occurrence in the European country as old bombs are constantly being rediscovered.
Far out.
Number 4. Padlocked Dungeon. Just before Christmas, a newly built
What?
padlocked dungeon was found near an unassuming tree in Pickering, Ontario.
Yeah, that's messed
The
up.
136-year-old farmhouse was long abandoned and hidden out of view. It seems that when contractors arrived to inspect the property for demolition, a new padlocked dungeon was found,
Wow.
causing much alarm. The police kept their
course.
findings very hushed, and a full-scale investigation began. The story gets even creepier. After the news broke of the discovery, and as police were still combing the property, it mysteriously burned down. This effectively destroyed
Wow.
the majority of evidence in the farmhouse, with
Yeah,
police
that's-
suspecting that
that's
this was the
crazy.
motivation behind the blaze.
100%.
Sometimes what you don't know makes creepy situations even scarier.
There's a reason.
What was hiding
There's a
in
reason
that
why
dungeon
that person
that was better
burned
destroyed
that house
than
down.
found?
Far out.
Number 3. The Koi Pond. This is creepy also, but it's also kind of cool at the same time. An old abandoned shopping mall in Bangkok, Thailand has turned into one giant fish
Yeah,
tank
actually it's kinda
after
cool.
being left to rot.
What
It
the
seems
hell?
that the New World Mall was never properly approved for opening, so was left to fall into disrepair.
Wow.
The ceiling caved in and rainwater pooled several feet deep. It's thought that the fish were introduced to the water by locals, although some say they were from the original mall's water features.
Far out.
However they got there, they began breeding,
That's
and now
true.
the whole place is one giant
they
fish
get there?
pond. It looks
That's
pretty
insane, though.
apocalyptic.
They just trapped
Number
there.
2.
One
the village
big
of
fish
dolls.
tank.
The entire village of Nagoro in Japan is almost totally abandoned.
That's so
The
weird.
mountain settlement used to have a population of around 300 people, but since 2016, there have been just 30 residents still living there. While you may think this would mean that buildings are almost totally unoccupied, you'd be wrong. Abandoned buildings are now filled with life-size dolls. Hell no. Is anyone else freaked out by dolls? The
That's
dolls
crazy.
are the work of villager Tsukimi Ayano, who grew up
Oh,
in the
so
village.
some guys like
Her family
all
left,
just
but she
making-
eventually returned and made dolls in their likeness. Since the year 2000,
Right.
she has made more than 400 dolls to replace
She
the
now.
old inhabitants of the village. The fact
All
that
right,
they are
over 400.
replacements makes it even creepier.
That's
In
crazy.
an empty school sits child dolls
What?
wearing the actual clothes
Imagine
of the last
urban
living
exploring and
peoples
you
to have
walk into
studied
that.
there.
I'd
Other
shit
dolls
myself.
can be seen performing tasks across the village. For
Farming.
example, a fisherman doll sits with a rod in a lake. So creepy.
Yeah, no thanks.
Number 1. Fairies.
Number 1.
Scientific arrangements of the bodies of fairies, werewolves, and aliens were allegedly found in the basement of an old London home. The story goes that in the 1960s, an old abandoned property was being cleared for renovation when a bounty load of curious and super weird specimens were found in the basement.
Wow.
The property was said to belong to 19th century aristocrat collector and biologist Thomas Theodore. A blog post detailing the discovery claims that contractors found several thousand small, tightly sealed boxes. When they opened them, they were shocked to find what looked like evidence of mythical creatures.
What the hell?
A lot of people consider the collection to be fake, saying that if it were real, then museums would have snapped them up.
True.
I'm not so sure. The
Nah,
images
that's a good
look
point.
real,
That's a
but
good point.
Maybe the bodies are actually models. Maybe
All
Thomas
that, yeah.
Theodore likes
Just made
making
them.
creepy art.
That's true.
What do you think?
That's true.
That was
That's
the
true.
10 creepiest things discovered in abandoned
Wow.
buildings. What do you think was the creepiest? Let us know in the comments.
The
Have
shark.
you ever found anything
The
creepy
shark.
and abandoned in your
100%.
neck of the woods? Share your story
question.
with us down below.
I'll share my story now. Straight up though, that was a great video. Now, in terms of have I ever discovered anything like creepy in an abandoned building, I'd honestly have to sit on that and think about it. I don't think so, but I don't want to say no 100%. I don't think I honestly have run into anything crazy. But then now that I'm actually thinking about it, I think the video that I'm posting on Friday, actually, the one that I was with my fiance with, we actually did run into something pretty creepy. Oh, actually did. I don't want to give too much information about what we explored or where or, like I just said, what it was, but stay tuned for that video on Friday because I think you guys are going to really, really like it. But I got to keep my mouth shut and zipped. If you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on Friday.